This is called The Chamber. It is the prequel to The Theater. Hope you enjoy. A paralyzing and deafening scream broke through the shine of my youthful innocence. The sins of another man's father being born through my pain and confusion of an unwanted touch. The mask I wore as the anger and frustration of a broken man imposed his will on a tired and weary soul. The disgust of an act too perverse to speak aloud. The cries that fell on deaf ears as I tried to understand what was really happening. Poor child, he said, as water betrayed blood for a gain that was never to be claimed. Poor me indeed, as I laid my head down and wallowed in my own self-hate and a deep shame for another man's actions. Fuck him for taking a perfect mind, a brilliant light that is now darkened by the same pain that made me helpless. The same hate thrust upon me by unclean hands and an obscene heart. I am only the remaining shell. A delusional magic act and a lonely marionette in the shaky hands of a man willing to silence the innocent to hide their guilt. This happened several times, each new one becoming more routine and with more ease on his part. The last time I decided that I had to reclaim my youthful innocence, and I fought back. I received a mighty hand that struck a deafening blow to my face. As I came to, I found myself bound to the walls by chains on my wrists. I can taste the metallic taste of blood that is dried in my mouth, and I feel as if I have a huge gash on my head caused by an object of pure control. My pulse is racing, and I start having short breath as I go into an intense state of panic. I start to see a faint shade of white light come from around the edge of what seems to be a door. Where am I? How did I get here? Why am I a prisoner? I start to violently pull at the chains, and I feel them cut into my wrists to the point of bleeding. I feel the warmth run down my arms. I'm startled by a heart-wrenching scream that came out of the darkness. A blood-curdling scream that seems to be one for help. I scurry around trying to break these binds that keep me here. The screams got louder as the door opened, and standing in the dim light was what seemed to be a version of me. It seemed to be more broken than I felt. The shell of a life that I once had. Excuse me. Excuse me. It screamed at me to stop, and I froze. I felt a debilitating and deliberate terror wash over me, and I screamed out, only to find that my voice no longer produced sound. I watched as he sorted through many pain-inducing instruments. I finally asked, and found a voice for the reasons behind my desperate enslavement, but I received nothing. I don't want to die before I find out the reason for being chained to this wall. Nothing is said as he lays out his orchestra of instruments to do whatever wishes to conduct in his symphony of pain. I yell, "Why?" And he stopped. He calmly looks at me. He walks over and he puts a ghostly finger to his lips, and I feel a calm wash over me that replaced the bewilderment of sheer horror. I watched as he picks up one of his instruments and shoves it into his own arm, and he lets out the same heart-wrenching scream that I'd heard before. I watch in horror as he does this over and over. If he is willing to do this to himself, what kind of hell will he unleash on me? Unbeknownst to me at the time, due to the terrifying sight, every penetrating stab and slice was releasing blood from within me. I scream at him to stop, and he does. He walks over to my blood-soaked body, and I am sobbing uncontrollably. He puts the same ghostly finger to my lips and whispers the word, absolution. I was immediately calm. He reaches up and unlocks my bloody wrists and arms. I slowly reach my feet as he walks to the door and opened up my desolate chamber. As I walk towards the door, I am saddened by his stature and his situation. As I pass the threshold, I find myself in a dark, cold theater. Thank you.